Hello, it's Dale here. I thought I would found some more samples from my embellishing bits and pieces and my cleaning out a big basket, and I thought I would share them because, you know, when you come back to these things, it's really exciting to see them, and you think it gives you other ideas for what you can do. And this is a little scroll that I made. We went to Waiheke Island, which is just off Auckland, and the back, for instance, is not on the embellisher. It's tissue text, the Abaca paper, which I like, which I've coloured, and I've stamped some of the trees that grow there, and I made a little scroll. And this one I've used a thread, which I think I've shown it before, this one here. And if you can find these things, they're wonderful. They're wonderful for all sorts of things. But I have embellished it onto felt. And you can see I've used yarn, wool and bits and pieces as well along the way. I've just done a little bit of digitising there. And then I made a large piece, which I cut up and plaited to make, you know, a wraparound, and a big bead that went off on the end, bead on each end. So it just rolls up. It could have things inside it, and here we go here. So that was all done with the embellishment. It's just got so much potential, and if you've got yours out, and I believe some people have found them, and some people have pulled them out and using them, things that you can't do with other things, with other pieces. So that's that. And then just very simply using your yarn that you've got, your wool that you might have, and joining bits together, and you can stitch into it and add to it. You can flatten down by running it back under the machine, or you can leave as is. And you can see these are, you can see bits, my scrappy bits have come through from the back, and I love the texture that comes and goes with all of those. So that's a potential for something, just little ideas to keep you going. And this is a long piece that I made. So I've created a large piece using wool fibre, and on the back I've put the scrim on and worked it through to the other side, and then I cut it all up and wove it. You get all my secrets on my videos because, you know, it's limitless. And then you've got that lovely texture. Put it back on. I use my flower stitch foot to create some texture on it, extra, and a little wee bit of daisy stitching, hand stitching. So it's just a piece, a long piece. It could be part of a garment, it could be anything, you know, that really takes your fancy. So that's that one. And this is another one that I made, and it's again creating the fabric. There's no scrim here, but I've created used the yarn that I have. This is a reasonably coarse yarn that I've had, like Corriedale, but so not fine like the merino. And then I've done a huge piece, cut it all up, and woven it in together, left the spaces for the fairies to breathe, and put some other threads back down. But you just put it back under your machine, and then I've stitched in places, and there's a bit of Angelina and sequins and so on, and just anchored them down. And so it could be a layer, it could be a little bit, it could be just a sample piece that you might come up with for later. And this yarn here is this one here, which I sort of covered what I've got left because I haven't got very much. That's all I've got. And these yarns were really big at one stage, but now they've all kind of disappeared again. So that's that one. Then if you take your scrim and you stitch and you just layer it like so, and or cheesecloth or whatever you found, but anything that's loose wire, put together, make some layers, and then run it under your machine, and then you start to get this very textured piece of fabric. You can see that's where I've worked from the back, and I still could do a whole lot more there because you can push those fibres right through, and then you've made an original piece of fabric. Now just cut that out and use it behind other things, trap it in or whatever, you know. So that's, the scrim is wonderful for that. I have little bits of scrim I find here and there. Then I did another one with, that's the back, and I put the yarn on the top here, just circled it round, just laid down some of that woody yarn that you might have hiding away, and I just used the machine just to anchor it all down. For this background I put Vlisifex fusible webbing and some foil on first, and then worked it on top of it, so you've got that layering and textury sort of thing, and you get all those little things come through as well. And then this one here is another one that's bits and pieces. So I've got a piece of pre-felt, oh hang on, yeah, no, this is a piece I made. So I made it with wool fibre, and I've put other things onto it just to give a bit of interest. So you've got some stitching and other bits and pieces, and put some beads in. And this one here is just, show you the last few, if you don't want to miss out. And this is using some cheap fabric that I picked up somewhere in a bargain bin somewhere, just to create onto a piece of felt. You can see where I've worked it from the front and what's come through to the back, little bits and pieces that you might find. And again, here's a little house, just using your bits and pieces, cut them up, cut them into like a little tag, wonderful little Christmas tag it could be. And again, a little purse, using the scrim 2 ways on the top and stitching and adding it in. And finally, this is another piece that's made onto the back. I have stitched it, machine stitched it, but I've worked it through with the embellisher to create all that, and then I've stitched it down later to anchor it in. So, you know, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you like with your machine. It's so fantastic. So I hope that's been useful, and I'll see you again another time. Bye.